Hi, folks. Thank you again for coming on to Back to Basics for Season 3. Today, we're going to speak with Fred Moskowitz, and we're going to find out what he's all about. What we are going to be talking about is investments, motivation. When it comes to investments and saving and retirement, I mean, that is the really main thing as to how comfort are we going to be. What is that mindset you're going to go and get into when it comes to investments, assets? Those are the things that we'll be talking about on this call today. So let's go and meet Fred and get to know him better on Back to Basics. Hi, folks. Thank you again for coming on to Back to Basics. We are here on Season 3, and we're going to speak with Fred, and we're going to talk about the wealth and the investment and the pursuing. Are they all the same thing? Well, we're going to go and find out today because it looks like that everyone is talking about the investments. Everyone is talking about wealth. But now the question is, are we really kind of doing that? Or are we talking about the mindset of people, how to readjust and rethink of how the investments are supposed to be in this world? So let's go and speak with Fred and let's go and get to know him better. Fred, how are you? Thanks for coming to Back to Basics.
Thank you for having me on. Doing wonderful.
Thank you, Fred. So before we get into the details of the episode today and the topic today, what does Back to Basic mean to you?
Yeah, I love this. Back to basics. What does it mean is, as we go pursuing our goals and dreams in life, it's very easy sometimes to get derailed, sidetracked, um, discouraged. We encounter problems and obstacles, and sometimes we're just so heads down in the trenches, we may lose sight of what is it that we're ultimately going after.
Hmm.
What's our goal? What do we want?
Hmm.
And so, getting back to basics for me, it's the being purposeful, being mindful, thinking about every action that we take, that it's either going to be taking us towards our goals or away from our goals. And these are little micro decisions that get made many, many times every single day.
Hmm.
So I really like the idea of on a daily basis reviewing your goals, writing them down, keeping them front and center so they're top of mind. And that way, all of our actions, our activities that we do,
Hmm.
all focused on our primary objectives on an ongoing basis.
Hmm. Yeah, thank you again, Fred, for answering that question. Thank you again for coming on Back to Basics on, the small podcast that I have, and we're trying to create the simple life things and simple questions and simple answers for that matter. So thank you again for coming here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fred, let me ask you this. I mean, is it really as simple as, the wealth and the investment and the retirement? I mean, do you think is it as simple as that? Because I think there's a lot of people who don't talk about money and investment and the
Mhm.
retirement because I think they're afraid of what they're going to go and find out. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, and I completely agree. And there's also a cultural thing. Many people were taught not to talk about money. Money was not discussed in the home. Some people were brought up that way, or maybe they just never had an interest, never learned. And most of what we know about money and what we learn, it's not taught in school. It's
Mm.
not. So you have to learn it in life. Either you pursue it actively, pursue your own education. It's what I call self-education, where
Sure.
you learn about that. You learn about investing, about money, about wealth,
Mm.
and which is wonderful. But you have to take the initiative and have the interest to do it.
Mm. Yeah, but Fred, sorry to interrupt you, but sometimes we don't find the right people to go and talk about it. Forget about
That's true.
family and forget about spouses. I'm just
Yeah.
talking in general that who the hell am I going to speak with? And is it okay for me to open my doors with all the information about my financial
Yeah.
if it's on negative or positive or whatever, right?
Or overload, right?
Or
In
overload.
today's era right now, we have YouTube, we have tons of podcasts about every topic imaginable, where you can learn about different investing strategies and personal finance. Wonderful, lots of resources and books and courses you can take online, and so this is available to us. Some people maybe just get overwhelmed. I see other people where the only thing they know about investing is at their job, at their employer, they're offered a 401k plan and it has half a dozen choices in it.
Mm,
And that's all they know about investing. That might be all that was ever offered to
mm,
them, other than put your money in the bank in a CD,
mm,
which is kind of really not a good investment at all. Um, because you're actually losing money over time by doing that. And so there's so much. It's such a broad spectrum,
mm,
and um, just start learning. I always say, look at the successful people around you in your life and ask them what they've done.
mm,
See what they've done. It's something that impacted me tremendously.
mm,
I saw people in my life that I had direct contact with that were involved in real estate, and they did very well with it. I
mm,
saw people from very humble backgrounds, not certainly not growing up with wealth and means, and they built wealth through real estate,
mm.
which fascinated me, and that inspired me to ask some questions
Sure.
to find out, how did you do it?
Mm,
and that's the process. Maybe you're interested in being an entrepreneur, running a business. So find successful business owners in
mm,
your life, in your community, and learn from them. Ask them their story. Business owners love talking about how they got started, how they built their business.
mm.
That's a topic that no one will ever get tired of talking about.
Of
That's
course.
a business owner to be happy to share.
So, Fred, let me ask you this, right? I mean, there's a lot of people who are listening to my episode here and
Mhm.
watching, or if they're on YouTube. I think the main question that what they have is, when do I start? And if I want to start, I don't have enough investment to do that. So, is there a loophole that we can get some help? What do we do? Because it seems like, obviously late is not a good thing, right? And
Yeah.
how late is late, right? I mean, at the age of 50 is too late, age of 60 is too late. Well, that's late, right? But when is late? I mean, if that
It's
makes sense.
never it's never late. It's never late. It's funny thing, this is such a relative thing. I'm involved in the real estate space, and specifically with mortgage note investing. But people that get into real estate, this seems to be a common theme. Like, someone else from the outside would be looking at them and say, "Wow, I wish I got started when I was your age." And that happens. It doesn't matter what age you are. You could be 20 or 55, and you've built up a nice portfolio of investments, and someone else will come along and say, "Wow, I wish I got started when I was your age." And
Mm,
so it doesn't matter to the person that didn't start yet.
mm,
Um, they see it as, they should have started long ago. And so this reminds me of that famous maxim that we hear, which is, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago,
right.
and the second best time is right now.
Mm,
And so don't let that discourage you. I've seen people get started investing in when they were in their 60s, and I've seen others get started when they were in their 20s.
mm,
And when the time is right and it's a priority for you, and
mm,
that's when you'll be successful with it.
mm.
When you'll put in the work, you're willing to do the work and invest the time and effort and energy, then you're going to be successful. And it doesn't matter what age you are.
Yeah, thank you again, because there's a lot of people that I know that who are very successful in life, right? And we compare them today, but then they
Mhm.
don't realize what suffering they have gone through to get where they are,
Yeah.
right? So I
It's
think
not
they should.
easy.
No, it's not easy. So I think they should learn the struggles they've gone through versus the end result of what they're going through. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It makes sense. And the best way to get started is surround yourself with people that are successful at the thing that you want to do.
Mm,
Find a mentor. Maybe you can work for them. Um, at minimum, you can have some good conversations with them and ask them what were some of the mistakes that you've made, or if you were starting over, what would you do differently?
mm,
And just some introspective questions like that
mm,
that will really provide some interesting nuggets
mm,
for you and in the position of starting out
mm,
learning. But I think that's the best way, because we can you can either make mistakes yourself, or you can learn from the people that made those mistakes and then avoid them altogether. It's like
of
you're
course.
taking a shortcut to get to your destination.
Of course.
And that's some of the benefit of having mentors, having guidance and coaches, and working with people that have experience.
Hmm. You know, Fred, let me ask you this. Thank you again for that. You know, a lot of people, I'm pretty sure they must have asked you, what's your success story? What I'm going to go and ask you is, what is your failure stories? Because people don't talk about failures and they don't talk about what you have learned from that to be successful today. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah,
So,
absolutely.
so let me ask you, what's your failure story, if there is any?
Well, as far as failures, I would say they were around mindset.
Hmm.
Mindset is it's something you have to work hard at. And in the beginning, I struggled. I struggled. I was uncertain. I was unsure of myself. I didn't have the greatest confidence. However, I went and did slowly and moved slowly and did well. And sometimes I look back retrospectively and think, wow, I could have grown and expanded faster at a faster rate, um, had I had more confidence in myself and my abilities and my results. And this was all in my own head.
Hmm.
It was almost like I couldn't get out of my own way. And
Hmm.
then other people around me were looking at me like, wow,
Hmm.
you're doing well. My
Hmm.
CPA,
Hmm.
who I met, right, he watched me grow from nothing.
Hmm.
He would say, "You're doing great. You have nothing to worry about.
Hmm.
Keep doing, keep doing what you're doing."
Hmm.
That was the common message. And so looking back, like, wow, I could have grown and expanded faster, but it was a mindset thing. And so for anyone that's an investor, it's a very important area to focus on, because we all have struggles, we all have challenges, and you have to work on them actively to overcome them.
Yeah, thank you again for that. Um, is there a book, is there a movie or music that kind of resonates with you that, yeah, I know where I'm focused at and what the great thing is out there for Fred?
Yeah, absolutely. I will share with you a book that really has been impactful for me is Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill.
Hmm.
And this is a book I read 20 years ago
Hmm.
when I was first starting out in investing. But over the last several years, and this is a book I would, it was written in 1937. The
Hmm.
information in it is very timely today, almost 100 years later, 90 years later.
Hmm. So,
Yeah, but that's a book that it's all about mindset. In the book, they outline the 13 principles to riches. And by the way, riches are not just monetary,
hmm.
because you can be rich in relationships, in friends, in family. Wealth is encompassing so many areas of life, and so it's about being rich at life.
Hmm. Fred.
and
No, no, go
go
ahead,
ahead.
please. No, no, please, please.
Yeah, and it's very common. People get focused on money and chasing after the dollar, but don't neglect the other areas of your life,
Mm,
your family, the fun you have, the people, the relationships you have,
mm,
your fitness, your health, super important.
mm,
Often gets neglected,
mm.
and
Fred,
so yeah.
let me ask you this, right? Because you read this book and it was published back in 1937.
Mhm.
Has the thought process kind of changed, the mindset changed over the years, or do
It
you think
does.
that it's pretty much the same thing?
No, it changes. This is a book that I like the idea of reading it every year,
Mm,
and each time you read it, it's a short read. Each chapter is like 20, 25 pages, so it goes pretty quickly. But
mm,
each time you read it, you gain a new insight, a new nugget.
mm,
Something resonates in a different way. And the reason for that is we all grow and evolve over time. So we're a different person the next time we go back to this work,
mm,
this body of work to study it.
mm, mm,
And so that's been an interesting observation that I've had that, yeah, every time it seems every time I go back, I take away something completely new, completely different. And it's because I've grown. I'm a different person.
mm,
I have more experience than I did last time.
mm, mm. So, Fred, thank you again for that. There's a new segment that we have started on season 3, which is the rapid fire round.
Mm,
This rapid fire round, there's some words and sentences, whatever pops in your head, we'll just go from there. How about
I
that?
love it. Let's
Awesome,
do it.
awesome. So the first one is going to be psychology of money.
Money is energy,
Okay. Uh,
and it's our job to keep it moving in circulation.
okay. Culture.
Culture is something we create in our own worlds, and it's also something that shapes us in the way we grow and evolve.
Okay. Social media.
Social media is a tool. However, it's easy to fall into the trap of it being a distraction for you. To use it wisely as a tool.
Okay. Goals.
Review your goals every single day.
Hmm. Late in the game.
There is no late in the game. It's about taking action immediately in the current moment, being present now.
Hmm. Okay. Uh, Mindset.
Having a strong mindset is what's going to guide you and keep you motivated even on the tough days.
Hmm. Okay. Starting something new.
I love the idea of doing something new every year. That's one of my goals. Is I find a new skill, a new hobby, a new activity to do every single year. It keeps me curious, it keeps me growth minded.
Hmm. Foundation.
Foundation is what allows you to build, grow, and expand, whether it's your own knowledge, skills, and education or your financial foundation.
Okay. Old versus new versus future.
They all go together and build upon each other.
Hmm.
You shouldn't disregard any of them
Hmm.
because what has happened, what is old, is relevant. It's still relevant. Take what works,
Hmm.
add the new,
Hmm.
and then learn from the next generation as well and incorporate see how you can incorporate that the new things that you feel like, oh, that's not for me, it's for a younger generation. No, absolutely not.
Hmm.
Embrace it and adapt the elements that are relevant for you.
Hmm. Hmm. Okay. Growth.
Growth is something we experience every single day. We're
Mm,
either growing or we're dying.
mm. Okay. Progress.
Progress is the most rewarding thing when you can look back and see how far you've come from where you were in the past.
Okay. Fred is.
Fred is known as the alternative investment expert. And my mission is to educate, empower, and share ideas about investing, about growth,
Mm,
actionable ideas that you can put into effect in your own lives.
okay. And the last one is going to be back to basics.
Back to basics. When you experience a failure or something that didn't go as well as planned or as well as you hoped, take some time to get introspective and go back to basics. Go back, see what worked, what didn't, do an analysis. That's the engineer in me, by the way. Do an analysis
Mm,
and say, what can I do different next time? And say, instead of saying, oh, this was a failure, get curious and say, what did I learn from this experience?
mm,
What can I take moving forward to benefit from me so that there's growth coming out of what others may perceive as a failure?
mm. Yeah, Fred, thank you again for playing the rapid fire round. There's
Wow, it
something
was
new that's.
fun.
I hope you liked it. I hope I didn't really challenge you much on that.
No, it's good. It's good. It gets you thinking. You got to think on your feet, and I love it. It was fun.
Of
Thank you.
course. Thank you. So, Fred, before we leave today, let me just ask you this. The way that things are going post pandemic,
Yeah,
the market has changed dramatically. When I say dramatically,
absolutely.
I mean dramatically. So, what do you think that the thought process is when it comes to investments and I guess retirement or even the comfort zone? Because it seems like the prices are going high no matter what. So, there's no right time to do anything because it seems like it's high. So, how intelligent should we invest, if that makes sense?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. We're definitely in a time of high uncertainty. There's a lot of uncertainty. There's uncertainty around the economy, around the interest rate and Fed and what they're doing, all of these things. And what I would say is the best way that you can be proactive is don't be sitting on cash, invest in hard assets. In particular, I like assets that generate income for you while you own them. So even the value may go up or down, however, they're still generating income for you.
Mm,
And that could be real estate, mortgage notes, it could be in owning a small business.
mm,
That no matter what happens, that asset is operational and it's generating income. And if you have to wait it out because the market went crazy or there's turmoil, so be it. But meanwhile, you're getting paid along the way. I feel that that's an important distinction and often gets overlooked.
mm. Yeah, Fred, thank you again for being on Back to Basics and giving us small nuggets of your thought process when it comes to investing or no investing or mindset or no mindset. And I think people they need to rewire and think a little differently on
Yeah,
there. But before
for
you leave
sure.
today, Fred, before you leave, do you have any last words to my Back to Basic listeners and my viewers? And how is your journey on Back to Basics too? On top of that,
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. So I'll leave you with this. I'm from Philadelphia, and I always like to take inspiration from one of our founding fathers of this country, Benjamin Franklin. And he left us with this really amazing quote I'll share with you. And that is this: an investment in knowledge always pays the highest dividends. And so this is so true all the time. Invest in yourself, invest in your knowledge, your skills, your education, because no matter what happens, it's something that can't be taken away from you. And when you have new skills, new abilities, the results from that, the growth, the investment skills, the business skills will pay so much more, so much higher than what you put into them.
Mm,
And so that's something, never lose focus about that.
mm,
And my experience on Back to Basics has been amazing. Girish, I find you to be an engaging host. You keep the conversation flowing, and it's a lot of fun. The time just flew by.
mm. Yeah, thank you so much for your kind words, Fred. And I really enjoyed it, honestly, because I think it's a very necessary topic to talk about, and people they
It
don't talk
is.
about it enough. And I think it's very uncomfortable to talk about the uncomfortableness of money and investment.
Yeah.
And I think it needs to be brought out of the box. And that's why I did that. So thank you again for coming here and sharing those nuggets. And hopefully we'll come up with a Fred 2.0 version on season 4 or 5 or whatever it is. And hopefully you and I will collaborate on the other projects too. So, but thank you
Great.
for coming here.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. So, guys, today we spoke with Fred, didn't we? And we talked about the basics of, well, investing. Well, we did talk about money, but honestly, he did say invest in yourself, didn't he? The more and more we invest in ourselves, the more and more we start learning. As what I always usually say on most of my episodes is learn, unlearn, and relearn, because that's just what we're doing. Everything changes every single time. Just like what we did in post-pandemic, the market changes, the money changes, the dynamics changes, and that's just what it is. Now, as usual, as always, there's a quote a day from Back to Basics, and hopefully my guest will like the quote. The quote is, true wealth is not of the pocket, but of the heart, of the mind. Because it's all about mindset, isn't it? Because, yes, at the end of the day, yes, we do agree money is very, very important in our lives, but the mindset is more important than the money. Because you know what? You can make more money just by the mindset and rewiring. Now, as usual, as always, what do we always say at the end of the episode? Everything in life goes back to basics, and that's what we did today, guys. Guys, we're almost done with season 3, and hopefully you're going to be supporting me in all the stuff that I do. Keep on supporting me, review the stuff, because you know what? Your love and support makes me stronger day by day. And I will see you next week on Back to Basics.
Wonderful. That was fun. Thank you.
Cool. Thank you so much
Yeah.
for doing this. I enjoyed it, honestly.
Yeah. I love your format, and you're a great interviewer.
Thank you.
Keep things engaging, so it makes it easy for me.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Now, guys, thank you again for tuning in to Back to Basics and listening to the excellent episode that we had today with our guest. You know, with your love and support, we do need you to at least rate our show, review our show, because it does make us stronger day by day, week by week, as I usually say on my episodes. And there are 3 things in this episode that it makes a hit for me, which is the content, the guest, and definitely the host. So guys, take care, God bless, and remember, everything in life goes back to basics, and that's what we did today, guys. Guys, take care, God bless, and see you next time on Back to Basics.